welcome to JamboFANTV. It's finished, Hearts 1, Inverness 1. Try and stay positive all the way through it, but it wasn't one of the best games I've seen. And it wasn't how I predicted. I was way out, basically. 4-0 I was predicting. We've got Gordon with us, and we've got Scott with us. Start with Scott. You were a little bit out as well. What was yours? 3-0?
Yeah, aye, that's right.
Okay. Let's have a look at that first half. We didn't start that well. And then after, I think it was 24 minutes, it got even worse.
Yeah, I think it's similar kind of discussion we're having to have, compared to last week. It's all about tempo and trying to get a foothold on the game in those first sort of quarter of the match. And again, we really didn't do that today. I felt with the way we set up, I'm hoping that we started Kitchen and Julius today, in the same starting 11 because we've got an eye on Wednesday. I'm hoping that wasn't purely just for the purpose of today's game, because I felt that definitely negated our sort of attacking threat. We were just a bit too sideways sometimes when we were looking for that killer option. When we made the changes in the second half, that improved, which I'll touch on later in the show. But definitely the first quarter of the match, it was very much a case of, us playing some patient build-up. But as soon as they scored, you could see that the players and obviously the fans as well were starting to get a little bit tetchy and a little bit frustrated. And that seemed to resonate on the park by sort of half-time. So not the best 45 minutes, but I can understand what the team were trying to achieve out there, which is always a comforting thing. I've seen enough Hearts teams out there that look a bit lost. So at least I could see what they'd been working on and what they were trying to do if it maybe wasn't quite coming off.
It looked like Inverness were packing that midfield. Everything we were doing seemed to be trying to go down the middle instead of going wide, which we'll get on to the second half in a bit because they tried to change it. But Gordon, it just wasn't working out in that middle part. They seem to be winning everything in the middle.
No, I mean, to be honest, this is where I maybe disagree with Scott a wee bit slightly. I don't like Julius and Kitchen together. Not in a 4-3-3 anyway. If it's a 4-2, maybe 3-1, or even a 4-4-2 with two white guys to stretch them, but with the two sitting midfielders and only one winger and two centre forwards, it kind of, I don't know, I put an awful lot of onus on June to do an awful lot in the middle of the park there, creating wise. And yeah, I think they read us quite well. You're right what you say, we were very narrow today.
Definitely. Again, one of the shows that I'd like us to do in the future is looking at what players sort of come in and what kind of players come in. And I thought today, I've thought for a few games now, that's it's that holding midfielder. It's that guy that's not wanting to be to be a star. He just wants to put his foot in, stop them playing, and pass it to those players that are better, basically, technically. And I just felt today we just didn't have it all the way through. It was about when they went 1-0 up. I was watching the game and listening to the radio, and it was all about can Inverness hang on. I actually thought they could have gone on and got another goal. What do you think of that, Scott?
I think what Gordon was touching on there with the 4-3-3, it definitely doesn't work within that framework. Again, I'm only surmising that we're potentially looking at that as an option for Wednesday, maybe with a 4-2-3-1 with June playing a more advanced role, either side of Walker or Nicholson. I find those two being omitted for the starting lineup today to be quite key with regards to what we're planning on doing on Wednesday. But Kitchen, for me, as a captain, really didn't get a foothold on the game, especially when Inverness went 1-0 up. I think as a midfielder, if you're the captain, you should be looking at trying to drive your team on, even if that's just being brave on the ball and taking it 5-10 yards further forward. I know he's not the most skillful player in possession, but again, it's his role as a captain to be trying to drive the rest of the team on. And too often, when he was receiving the ball, his head was down, he wasn't opening up his body to then just play the ball off quickly to either fullback, and he was the one who was really slowing the game down quite a lot. Second half, it seemed to pick up a little bit, but I just felt that until Martin came on and Doom seemed to get pushed further up the park in the second half, we really didn't look to be making too many forward passes in the central area. That's something we're really going to have to address for Wednesday's game.
Yeah, definitely. But again, I was going to point on that, but I'll bring it up now. I was talking about aggression in the last one. You know, the aggression to want to be able to boss the game, to close the ball down. And I think you're right, Kitchen. He didn't do it. You needed a leader out there, and he was at Hearts, just didn't have that. And I just wanted more talking. I wanted more, you know, just try to say these sideward passes. You know, they look good when you get your stats together. Oh, I've made so many yards and what have you, but it means nothing. It means nothing unless you're driving forward and trying to make changes. On making changes, second half. Came out with a bit more about us. Would you agree with that, Gordon?
Definitely. I think the introduction of Jamie Walker actually changed the game. It just put a totally different pace to our attacks. When he got the ball, he was bringing it down quickly, getting it wide, or trying to play a 1-2 around the edge of the box. And I thought he was excellent until he missed his penalty. And I really felt Jamie's head went down, and we kind of didn't. Albeit we were creating chance after chance after chance towards the end of the game, you never ever thought we were probably going to get one actually that was going to find the back of the net, unfortunately.
No, it was again. It went difficult. I tweeted on our site. I think we hit the bar, the post. We missed 2 sitters and a penalty. It just seemed to be one of them games where I just felt like we could have been out there for another 90 minutes and it wouldn't have gone our way.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, I'm probably for the school who thought that I hate to use the term luck, because I think putting the ball in the back of the net is a skill. And even if you are hitting the bar or the post or having, you know, chances cleared off the line or, you know, missing the 10 yards out, I do think that that's a technical part of the game that we need to improve on. I felt that some of your build-up play, especially in the second half, was really good, especially given that the fans were getting on the back at times to just lump it forward, which I don't think is the way forward with the way in which this Hearts team's set up. We just don't have the players to play within that system now. But it was just that final decision. So Goncalves, Curry, there was a lot of moments where they made good space for themselves in that final third, but it was just that final shot or that final pass that was just sadly lacking on occasions. But for a 1-1 draw at home to the bottom side, I felt there was enough there, especially for the second half, to encourage us in terms of what we do on Wednesday.
Definitely. I think things changed in the second half. Like I said, we seemed to go wider and stretch them a little bit. I think we recognised there's no point in going down the middle. They had us sewn up. We started to stretch the game. They came a little bit more desperate. You know, I think it was as big a shock to them that they went in front, and the pressure was on them. They're down at the bottom, but they handled it, and they just they kept coming back. In terms of the penalty miss, Gordon, great save or bad miss?
Bad miss for me, unfortunately. It was. He actually, I thought of the game, I thought he's like desperate to just take it. He was in a real rush, and as soon as the box was clear, he ran forward, took it. Keepers did what keepers do. You know where I sit, I'm pretty much in line with the penalty spot, and the keeper was about 3 yards off his line when he saved it, but that's just one of the things that happen in football. Yeah, I think it was a poor penalty. I think the goalkeeper went early enough that maybe in hindsight, Jamie might have just rolled it another round if he wanted to.
Yeah, on Twitter, I was reading through, and lots of people were basically skitting, saying that we should be practicing penalties in training. Me personally, Scott, I don't think it's something you can practice. I think for me, it's on the day how you feel and where you put it. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, a lot of it's mindset, and I agree totally with Gordon. It was just a bit strange how rushed it seemed to be. I was actually still in the process of watching whether the referee had the other players, behind the ball and in the right position. And before I knew it, Walker had already ran up with the whistle and went. So it was a little bit strange. Again, I don't know what would have happened if the substitution had taken place, but Martin came on pretty much right afterwards. And it would have been interesting to have seen if maybe he would have got involved in terms of taking the penalty. But I guess now Jamie's now missed maybe 2 of his last 3, so it's going to be, well, I suppose maybe 3 of the last 4, because he missed two at that game up at Ross County. So it's going to be interesting to see potentially whether Goncalves or maybe Martin maybe takes the next one for us.
Well, I think that's a point in terms of, like you say, the psychology of it. Is that in his head now? Is he the kind of player, Gordon, that if for instance we get a penalty at Hibs, that he can just go up and put that behind him, or should we be looking elsewhere to see who else can take it, in terms of goal scorers?
Well, I think given what Scott says about what he did at Ross County and he's missed again today, I think Jamie would, if he was handed the ball, Jamie would happily take it. And I think he'd probably want it, actually, knowing the type of character Jamie Walker is. He's a very confident lad. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Me personally, I mean, I don't know. I feel like every time I talk to you, Gordon, I feel like I'm down on the lad. But me personally, I'd like, as I said, I think it's always in the back of your mind, and I'd like to see him in the future taking penalties. But I think we've got other people that can. The goal came, Scott. Was it coming, or were you surprised when we actually got it?
No, I think it was a matter of sort of when rather than if. Again, it was a bit disappointing that we couldn't get a second goal on top of it, but the goal itself, again, it was just an opportunity there where we were patient with our build-up. I felt our build-up play was pretty decent today. Again, it was just that final bit of decision-making, especially up top. Goncalves showed lots of energy, was really great with the ball at his feet and made the ball stick at times. But in terms of when he was actually, facing goal and was able to be given the opportunity to bring others into the game, he just always seemed to make the wrong choice today. So that was probably the one disappointing aspect of his game. Curry came on, and on 2 occasions he made great space for himself within that box, but unfortunately he fluffed one shot and then had a total, air kick at the last minute as well. So it's just been a case of just that last part of the game just not working. And I do tend to try and see it as a glass half full when it comes to these types of games, but I do think there was a lot to take from today with regards to how the players just stuck with it. And in a lot of cases they would have won a game like that 2 or 3-1 by the end. So I don't see any reason to be too downbeat. Again, today I saw a massive improvement between this and sort of the performance from last week.
I totally agree with you. I mean, your positivity is rubbing off on me. Which is a good thing. I'm trying to take some. I'm trying to take something positive from it, and I think we didn't just lump it up. The easiest thing in the world would have been just to keep panicking, throwing long balls into that box, and seeing out what happened. They just stuck at it, and they had, like you said, they had a game plan. He's got his ethos of how he sets his sides up and how he wants them to play, and that's how they did it. And the next question is for you, Gordon. Do you think if we carry on putting that kind of, eventually it's going to come off, in terms of people linking together and the way that we build play up? And I just think it needs to be a bit more pacey, the way that we do it. We're a bit static sometimes, but the pitch, again on Twitter, massive talking point. I don't think the pitch can make you miss a penalty or two open nets like we missed. But in terms of the build-up play, you think a pitch basically just being ripped up will help us out next season with the kind of play that we're putting together?
Yeah, hope so. What you just said there about the philosophy keeping playing football is exactly right. But also what you said there about the pace we're able to play at is definitely affected by the pitch, because when your first touch is like maybe bouncing up onto your shin, or when you control it, it's bouncing away from you because of a divot that you're standing in. It definitely makes things very difficult. And I was actually surprised how much we tried to play football today, having read Cathro's comments in the last couple of days. And like you say, we stuck with it. We never really went long at any stage. And yeah, it's probably good to see. It's encouraging to see, and let's hope we can, in this magic pitch that Hibs play with super flair on, we can sort them out on Wednesday night.
Definitely. Well, it isn't a loss. Again, we were looking up at sides, thinking we can make some ground on them, and unfortunately, St Johnstone won today, so Hearts are looking back a little bit, Scott. How does that make you feel? Like I say, I was quite positive, thinking we're going to be giving Rangers and Aberdeen a run for the money, and all of a sudden, are we going to drop back a place?
I think it's hard to give this result context until Wednesday's come and gone. I think as long as we're still progressing in the cup, I think the fans will accept baby steps in the league. But if we were to go out on Wednesday, then a result like today obviously takes extra significance. So I walked away today thinking, okay, that was okay. But I suppose I won't really know the total significance of the result until after Wednesday's been and gone. So it is difficult to comment on that. I don't want to be knee-jerk with regards to, this one game. In the same way you don't want to be when we're beating Rangers 4-1. You don't want to put emphasis on a new manager's way of thinking and a new team's way trying to gel together on the basis of 90 minutes. It's just a case of week by week hoping to see enough of an improvement within individuals and as a team to sort of say to you, well, I know that in 6 months' time we'll be okay, we'll be a top 3 team and we'll be a team that can compete for cups. And I do see that. There's still areas that worry me. Left back again today, I think, was another particularly worrying area. I just think so was just the way he tries to control a ball just has me worried at every turn. His first touch seems to be quite heavy, and I don't think that's a pitch-related thing. I think that's just the way he tries to control the ball. I think that's just his technique. So again, that's still a bit of a concern for me, alongside the way that Hamilton's kind of trying to distribute the ball, and I don't think that's all his fault. I think he's under instruction to try and go short, and of course this to the fans is sometimes translating as him being too slow, but I don't think that's the case. I just think he goes for the short option, that's not available, so then he has to go long, and unfortunately again we just don't really have a focal point up there, so it's the ball's constantly coming back to us. So he's had a bit of a rough ride over the last few weeks, so it's going to be imperative that the two centre halves in front of him start to take that burden off him. Too often today I saw the centre halves playing the ball back to him when we could have potentially have used the guys out wide or maybe someone in the middle of the park. So I think they're going to have to watch out on that on Wednesday. We really don't want Hamilton to have a shaky opening 10 minutes. We really need to try and build his confidence given what's been going on recently.
I totally agree with you. I can see Ibs targeting him, to tell you the truth. And they're going to be putting balls in and about him and putting challenges in for those balls. Fingers crossed that he's up to the task. Gordon, just reading through some of the Twitter stuff, I think, again, if I'm being unfair, let me know. Hearts aren't that, it's not that long ago that they were a championship side. And you look at the side that came up and you look at where we're at now, and a lot of progress has been made on and off the pitch to that side. Do you think that sometimes Hearts fans sort of forget that and think, we should be in, a top 1 or 2 places and forget actually where they've come over the last 2 or 3 years?
Probably, and I'm probably as guilty as anybody for that. I was when we won our first 5 games last year, I probably went off my head a wee bit actually, and there was towards later on in the season, I was looking back at points we dropped and thinking we could have been possibly a top 2 side last year. This year was always going to be more difficult with Rangers coming up. What were you thinking, Rangers? They've got money, they've got a big expectation there as well. And Aberdeen have been steady for the last 3 or 4 years. So realistically, 4th is where you probably expect us to be. I'm not comfortable with St Johnstone so close. I think we should be pushing anyway, but maybe that's all credit to them for being so close. We're looking back this season, we've thrown away 2 or 3 points that I think we should have gained. But yeah, I think all in all, there probably is an unrealistic expectation level at Tynecastle because of where we've been. But we have got a good squad just now, and I think that it could potentially be challenging for 3rd or even 2nd on a good day.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with you. A good squad, and starting to see some sort of youth signing and coming through and what have you. So that's always exciting for the future. Well, lads, thank you. Thanks so much for coming on again. And we've got the review for the Hibs game coming up, haven't we?
Hope so.
Hopefully a positive one.
We've got that coming up. I put something on Twitter if you want to have a look at it. It was, would you keep the same side as today, or would you make changes? So there's a little poll on there. So if you're thinking of making changes, let us know on Twitter what changes they would be, and if you're going to swap somebody, who would you swap them for? And then we'll pick up on that when we do the review. Please. Tell your mates, retweet anything that we do on Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe. I think we're up to something like 275, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for supporting us. Again soon when we do the Hibs preview. Speak again soon.